Hello and welcome back to the opposition preview here on the Last Word on Spurs. Difficult last few days as a Spurs fan. Therapy's been the way over the last couple of days. We're looking forward now, looking ahead to Newcastle United to come for Spurs this coming Sunday. Huge game for Tottenham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And in my opinion, not a better man to preview Newcastle with than the wonderful Matt Ketchell. Matt, loves to be back on Last Word on Spurs. Thanks for the audio preview. You're here for the YouTube side. How you doing, my friend? You well?
Yeah, pleasure to be here. It's good times at the minute being a Newcastle fan, and it was an interesting to listen to you guys talking after the Man United game. Sounding like you're in deep crisis, but I think you'll be all right. So hopefully Sunday's a bit better for you.
I think the nature of it, Matt, is for us, obviously, when we do the post-match analysis show straight afterwards, you get a lot of raw emotion that normally if you've got a couple of days to calm down, the argument would be that would be a bit more sane. I think at the moment there is still an element of concern around Tottenham just over style of play, essentially Spurs' issues against the bigger clubs away from home, that mentality block, and whether we can get over the line in those games, because you do feel those are going to be the critical ones in between separating Spurs from being a side that are looking for a top four finish and then trying to get that next level where, of course, is the word competing. As hard as that can be when you've got City, and I hate to say it, our dear rivals Arsenal at the moment, top of the league. And with every week that goes on, obviously there's more and more concern of that aspect. But let's talk about Newcastle. It's been a really great start. I've never seen you smiling so much. And obviously I've known you now personally over the last couple of years. And I think since you've come into the family, Matt, there's always been this kind of Newcastle got this meteoric rise where they now suddenly look to be really kind of creeping up on Tottenham. And I think I've never seen Newcastle fans look so happy. So just give us a flavour of what it's been like since the takeover. I appreciate obviously there's a lot of issues off the pitch that come with that, but more focusing on the football side of things. How have things been since the takeover of Newcastle in what's been, just over a year now, Matt, a bit more?
Yeah, almost exactly a year. It's been an amazing year. You know, I can't lie. It's been everything that we hoped it would be, just hugely exciting. But not just everything we hoped it would be, everything we knew it would be. We knew Newcastle was a gold mine that just needed to be tapped into. And that was really Mike Ashley's biggest mistake. He didn't realise the potential of what he had. And if some people came in and who could unleash that potential, we know that, as Jurgen Klopp has said in recent weeks, there's no ceiling to the club. You know, there's the things that we can achieve. You know, we want to get into the top six. We want to get into title races, into the Champions League. And I think the Newcastle have been there before in recent memory, and they can do it again. The comparison with Spurs is really interesting because when Mike Ashley took over as owner of Newcastle in 2007, Newcastle was, as a club, worth more than Spurs. Had a bigger stadium, had a more expensive playing squad. And then look at what Spurs did. £1 billion stadium, probably worth 4 times the amount of Newcastle. So that's what happened. Mike Ashley took it and didn't really do anything with it, whereas Spurs capitalised. And so now there's that gap between Newcastle and Spurs that we want to try and close. So I think that's where we want to be. We want to have a £1 billion stadium. We want to be worth billions of pounds as a football club. We want to have, you know, very expensive players playing at the highest level. So in terms of the year, it's been brilliant. Like, not just we're signing amazing, exciting young players, not superstars, but like players like Bruno Guimaraes and Alexander Isak, who have the potential to become world class. And you know, so he's not signing sort of out of the box world class stars. He's signing players that can mold and grow with the club, if you like. Spending money on the back four. We've got a completely new back four now, apart from Fabian Schär, and it's showing. We've got the best goals against record in the league. I can't believe I'm saying that as a Newcastle fan. We've kept 5 clean sheets. So it all the stuff that we hope would happen on the pitch is happening. We're playing much more exciting front foot football, pressing teams and being sort of really positive and trying to play exciting football. But then equally off the pitch, it's really taken off for us. We've now got a commercial director. Newcastle didn't even have a commercial director. They had one guy, Lee Charnley, who did everything. So Peter Silverstone, who was ex-Arsenal, he came in this week. Darren Eales has come in as CEO, who you'll know was at Spurs and did the Gareth Bale deal at Spurs and then went to America. Dan Ashworth is technical director. He's like a rock and roll technical director. He created the England DNA that sort of is what took England on to success in Russia and at the Euros. So real heavyweight signings off the pitch as well as on the pitch. So it's been an amazing year, and it just keeps getting better, almost game by game.
Yeah, I mean, it's translating itself on the pitch as well, Matt, isn't it? I think you can definitely see there's a real togetherness amongst the fan base, even amongst the players. You know, you do see when Newcastle win, that picture always goes up on the socials of the squad all together. And quite frankly, in my time, obviously Newcastle, it's probably the most strongest I've ever seen that bond between playing staff, coaching staff, even like I say, technical directors around the club. It does feel like Newcastle are building something very special there. And it is, again, something to be really keeping an eye on because they are creeping their way up the table. And you could arguably say for Tottenham, they're facing Newcastle at a time in which, again, it's a bit of a warning that what's coming our way. They're a side that are in really, really good form. I mean, just talk us through the start of Newcastle's season, how impressed you've been. Because I think it is your best start, Matt, I read the other day, I think since 2011-12. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, the best start. And that we sort of tickled the Champions League that year. I remember in 2012, it was the day of the Aguero QPR goal. We were away at Everton. If we'd won and Tottenham had lost, we would have made the Champions League under Pardew.
Crazy.
And we were delighted with Europa League. This was sort of the Cabaye, Tiote, Gutierrez generation. That was, and then ever since then, you know, it's been relegation battles, a relegation, and sort of finishing 13th every season. So it seems. So this is a really good start. It hasn't been spectacular. We've had a lot of draws in there. I think we've had five draws out of the 11 that we've had 6 draws actually, just looking at the table, 6 draws out of the 11 we've played. So a couple of frustrating ones where we're almost finding that issue that I'm sure Spurs have, where teams are coming and parking the bus against us. Palace and Bournemouth did that. So you need to pick the lock. You need to work out how to do that, and we don't really, you know, that is the step into the sort of Champions League section, isn't it? When you can do that and break teams down and be patient and grind it out, you're there. I don't think we're quite there yet. So we've had a couple of draws away at Brighton, home to Palace and Bournemouth that we're frustrated with, but we've only lost one game, and that was Liverpool away. Ricky, you'll remember it was the day I got married. You were there, but we had the game on in the background, and we took the lead, and Isak scored on his debut, and then he scored again. It was harshly ruled out for offside, so we would have gone 2-0 up away at Anfield.
Yep.
Liverpool have come back into the game and scored in the 98th minute when there was only 7 minutes supposedly allowed. So we can feel hard done by that defeat, and we've obviously lost to one of the best teams in the league. So to only lose once shows just the kind of form we're on. So we had this period of draws, and then all of a sudden we went away to Fulham and won 4-1. We smashed Brentford 5-1. Had a great result at Old Trafford, 0-0. We were by far the better team in the second half, but Man U were the better team in the better team in the first half. Man U were the better in the second half. But that Man, you know how difficult it is.
Well, we just saw how difficult it was for us. Yeah, we just saw it obviously for us. Yeah,
great point. I think it was a great point. And then Everton wasn't pretty. It was a very physical game on Wednesday, but they got stuck in. They kept their heads. They were patient, and we weren't. Everton had one shot and it was off target. So we're restricting teams now. So. The momentum is definitely there.
Very similar to us, I thought, against Everton. If I'm being honest with you, Matt, obviously we faced them last week. You know, they're compact, and as you said, coming to really part the bus, but essentially look to hit on the counter. And you're going to find out more and more as you guys steadily improve as you go up the league, that there will be that sort of respect now at St James's Park, where teams are going to literally just put 9-10 men behind the ball and say, break us down. And I mean, I've been crying out on Last Word on Spurs all summer for when the window was open, a number 10, because with Conte's system, you do rely heavily on the wing backs. And I think, if we're being honest, I think the Spurs fans will also feel, a number of them, that the wing backs of Spurs haven't simply got the decent enough level to be able to provide and play the system Conte wants. I just wonder, going into this one, you know, Bruno Guimaraes, who I think is arguably going to be one of the best players in the Premier League, and then look at someone like Miguel Almiron, and I think a player like him has got all the ability to also be up there. I think a lot of his game has been confidence. I think it's been having a manager that trusts in him, believes in him, and it looks like Eddie Howe is doing all those things. And again, as you saw his goal the other night, looks absolutely full of confidence. So next question is, Matt, and probably one that we need to keep an eye on, is who are the danger men for Spurs to look out for, you feel, on Sunday afternoon?
You've hit the nail on the head with those two. Bruno, have a look at Bruno on Sunday. He is just quintessential Brazilian in that he doesn't even need to think about what his feet do. No. It's just there.
Unbelievable.
360 player, but he's aggressive, and he's what I love about him is he's a real pickpocket. So you'll find him nicking the ball and transitioning it really quickly into an attack. It's incredible. And if the ball comes into him, it's out of his feet and it's gone, and he's chasing after it. The way he passes the ball, he almost like stabs the ball. It's so intense, the intent, the aggression, always through the lines, and his vision he's always looking for he'll always try and do the sort of the difficult pass. Sometimes to his detriment, he lost the ball a couple of times against Everton, and as soon as he does that, his hand goes up and he apologises, but it doesn't affect him at all. He just goes again. He's a real gem of a player. Can't believe he's playing for us. It's a joy to watch him every game. And a sort of maybe a slight worry for Spurs is he's had these 2 quiet games against Man U and Everton. I thought he couldn't get into the game at Old Trafford, and he was again trying a little bit too hard against Everton. So I just wonder if he's due one on Sunday, because he can score as well. He's very capable. He's very right-footed, but he's not afraid to hit it with his left. He doesn't care. He will have a go. So very confident player. So Almiron, so that's Bruno for one, and Almiron is we've had Almiron since 2019, and he never really got going and in and out the team. You can see the lad's potential. He's rapid, but with Almiron, it was always the football brain wasn't there. He would make poor decisions, and he was a bit of a loose cannon. But he's perfect for Eddie Howe, because the press at Newcastle now is insane. The team just press relentlessly, and he can run all day at speed. And he's playing on the right, but he's very left-footed. So it's he scored that fantastic goal away at Fulham, the volley. That was he was on the right, but he hit it with his left. He scored against Everton. It came back to him and he hit it with his left. So he's very left-footed. So it's all about cutting in and getting shots away. And he's just he's played the best he's played for us since we've had him in 3 years. But it suits the system, because he just presses all day. He's like a dog on the beach. He'll just go all day. So those are the two to look out for. And then the back five, really, if you want to include Bot, is so organised. Botman is getting better every game. It took him a bit of a while to get going. We spent a lot of money on him from Lille. And Eddie Howe sort of found his back four now, because he likes to have Botman because he plays on the left and Shaw plays on the right, because Botman's left-footed, but Byrne is also very left-footed. So he's found a spot for Byrne at left-back. So Dan Burns keeping Matt Targett out the team, and he's set on this back four. And in Trippier, I think Trippier would probably say he's probably playing the best football of his career, which has come at a good time with these right-back injuries and the World Cup on the. But Trippier is fantastic. And what I love about Trippier is great captain in terms of speaking to the referee, controlling our players. We've got a couple of hotheads in our team, like Shaw and Joe Linton, are a bit, and he just controls them, speaks to the referee, especially when there's VAR stuff happening. He's just brilliant. And then obviously the ability to whip balls in and free kicks. So those, I would say, Trippier, Bruno, and Almiron are our big informed players at the minute.
Well, a couple of questions to ask you more about before I just bring you in for the prediction. I'm really intrigued to know, obviously, you said earlier now that Newcastle are gaining that respect at home. Teams are setting up. They're obviously saying break us down, putting 10 behind the ball. How do you expect Newcastle to approach this game against Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday? What do you expect their approach to be? Bearing in mind, they've just come off the back of a really good win at home to Everton. Also got a point away to United. They're a team, I think, not to be feared with, and they can show they've gone away from home against some of the big sides and got results. How do you expect them to approach this one on Sunday?
Similar to the way they approached Man United, really, which was just, I think against Man United he would have liked to have played Willock in midfield, but Willock was ill and still looks a bit ill. So I'm wondering if Willock might start on Sunday, possibly in place of Joe Linton, who had a strapped knee and took a bang on his knee and came off. So if he puts Willock in, then you've got more legs, and that's a bit more of a front foot approach. If you leave Joe Linton in, then that's a bit more a sturdier option. Him and Longstaff will do the tackling and just recycle it to Bruno. So the selection in midfield will be one to look at. But basically the way they work it is, the stat is that Newcastle win the ball back in the opposition's third as much as more than anyone. So what you'll find is, even if they're not nothing on, they'll clip a lot of balls to the channels to your wing backs, because if your wing backs are pushing up, you'll find balls going over the top. We've got Murphy and Almiron, who are rapid. They don't often have the quality, but they're rapid and they can get on the ball. And even if they don't win the ball, then they'll look to win it back in your third, if you know what I mean. So that's the sort of thing that I wouldn't, if I was Conte, I wouldn't push. You don't want to let your wing backs go too far, because Almiron and Murphy will just be in at the back and winning the ball back. And then Wilson is fantastic at holding the ball off and either playing it off to Bruno or playing it off to the wing backs, and then they go. So, and then obviously you got Trippier getting up, and Byrne gets up as well, to be fair. So it'll be, and then what happens then is, when the balls go into the channels, the whole team moves up high, and then they press you from there. So the tactical cohesion of this Eddie Howe team is amazing. The whole team moves together, whereas under Bruce, it was just sit back, sit. It won't be like that. It'll be press. And I think, Newcastle, Tottenham are favourites as far as I'm concerned on Sunday. I know that there's the form issue, but let's face it, Tottenham are Tottenham. So Newcastle can just go there confident, not many injuries, free hit, just go for it. And I don't think there'll be a sitting back at all. I think it'll be a let's press, win the ball back, and try and spring counter attacks,
which may benefit Spurs. Matt, finally, prediction.
I think a draw. I do think a draw, and I would take a draw. Maybe you guys would take a draw. I don't know, but
I'm not sure about that. I mean, I think we have won our last 8 in a row at home now. I think 11 in all competitions. So I think, listen, a point away at Newcastle, you probably argue is a really good result now. I mean, but I think being at home and the fact Spurs have just come off a really disappointing defeat to United at Old Trafford, I think Spurs have to go in with the intent to win this one. I do think also there'll be a little bit of pressure on Conte because, again, the nature of that horrendous performance at Old Trafford, there'll be a need and expecting Spurs to come out of the traps, which I think if Newcastle are going to be a side that sits back, I think it might benefit Spurs. So is that
okay.
You going for a draw then?
I think a draw. I think it's a tough place to go. You've only lost 2 games to 2 decent teams, so it's still Tottenham. Yeah. I think I don't think it's crisis talks yet at Spurs, and we take a draw. I was at the game in April where we lost 5-1, so a draw would be a big improvement. Oh,
absolutely. Finally, Matt, where can everybody find you across the socials? You do some great stuff on Newcastle in general in football. Where can everybody find the wonderful work you do?
Yeah, just at Ketchell on Twitter, at Ketch Football on Instagram, and I'm the deputy editor of 442 magazine, this old thing. So the World Cup issue's out with the 68-page World Cup preview. So it's hard to get in the mood for a Winter World Cup, but if you buy a copy of our magazine, it'll help. World Cup wall chart in there as well. So we're at 442, obviously, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So, yeah, that's where we're working.
Appreciate it. Matt, thank you so much. Love to have you back on Last Word on Spurs. I'm sure we'll pick up for the reverse fixture where I'm terrified to think where Newcastle will be come that fixture. But thank you so much, as always, for sharing your time with Last Word on Spurs.
Pleasure. Good to be here, Ricky. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Matt.